All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome all of you that are tuning in live and will be tuning in, and those who are going to watch this on playback, whether it be on our Facebook or on our YouTube channel as we've uploaded all the episodes. Hope those of y'all that saw the beginning enjoyed the new graphics, courtesy of none other than Richard Romero down at the end of the couch there. So we're getting a little fancy for us here in episode 27, trying to up our game a little bit. So you'll see some new features with how we're streaming and whatnot. Also, as I think both Raul and Richard have posted out on the page, don't forget that all the past episodes have been put on YouTube. What I like about that is you can go back to the very beginning. We're now in year 3, already halfway through year 3 almost.
Right.
And you can go back to all those episodes. Nice about that is you can jump ahead to any segment. Also, today we're going to be a little bit different. Usually it's me leading the way, and I'm leading the way to start, but each of the guys here are going to take over a different segment. And so we're going to kick things off. If you're watching this on playback, we're going to be looking at Liga MX first and talk a little bit about Copa Libertadores. That's Raul. He's going to be guiding us through that. We'll be answering questions. And next we'll get into little things women's soccer, both here nationally, NWSL, Liga MX, and a little international, and as well as some Euro soccer. Soccer's back in Europe. Premier League kicked off already, and the other leagues are kicking off soon. So Richard's going to guide us through those segments. And then I'm going to bring it home with a little segment on the Dynamo. And I'm just going to leave it at that. There is a lot to talk about with them in the MLS. And I got a nice little rant ready. So if you want to see my rant at the end, like I said, go towards the last. So we're going to do about 30 minutes a segment at most. So we're going to try and keep it moving. And so with that, with further ado, let me just turn it over to Raul. And let's jump right in and get into all things Liga MX and Copa Libertadores, a little American football.
Alright, so Liga MX is not well underway, but we're at the beginning of the season, and it's pretty interesting. I think we're 3-4 games in. There's a few interesting games coming up, but the standings right now, it's kind of interesting because the teams that you expect to be at the top aren't at the top. It's kind of mixed up right now, but I'm assuming just because it's still early in the season. Right now we have Santos in first with 12 points. Querétaro in second with 10. You got America in third place with 10. You got Tigres in fourth with 9. You got Atlas in fifth with 9. You got Chivas in sixth with 7 points. Tijuana in seventh with 7 points. And Pumas in eighth with 6 points. And ninth place you have Monterrey with 6 points. And Cruz Azul in 10th with 5 points. The way it's playing out right now, it's still too early to tell, but there's a few teams that have been having it kind of rough in the beginning, and then there's some teams that you don't expect that are up there. For example, you have Querétaro up there. Querétaro's always one of those teams where they're strong sometimes and they're weak at times. They didn't really make any interesting moves, but right now they look like they have a solid lineup for them to be up there in second. But like I said, the season's barely starting, and we got a long way to go. Another team that has surprised a lot of people that's up there is Atlas. Atlas is one of those teams that's always at the bottom. They didn't make any moves. They're just a young squad, but they look pretty solid, and it's kind of interesting to watch them play. Hopefully they can keep it up and stay the way they are, but I don't know. Atlas and Chivas are just one of those teams that they can start off good and then they can drop and they're back at the bottom.
Atlas last year.
Atlas was last year. You got Pumas up there trying to make a run for it and trying to stay in the top 8, trying to redeem themselves, because I think 2 years back they said that they were going to win it, and they haven't done it since then. Cruz Azul trying to fight, but we already know how that story goes. 29 years and counting that they haven't won anything, so we'll leave that at that. Monterrey, kind of having a rough start for them. They did make a solid move, but I still feel like they're trying to get in rhythm with their team. They still have some chemistry to build. Still same team, but they're having a rough start. But I mean, it's only a couple games in. I feel like they're able to pick themselves up. You have Tijuana up there fighting. León, surprisingly number 1 team last year, is down in 12th place right now. I'm not sure what's going on with that. I guess it's just one of those things where they had an amazing season and they lost it all, and they really didn't come back with any hope or the same mentality, so they just fell. And then you got Santos in first. I'm not sure how to feel about Santos being in first, just because they're one of the teams in the north that we seem to fight with a lot. Monterrey plays them, it's interesting. Tigres plays them, it's interesting. But to see them up there, it's different. Obviously, they're always in the top 8, so it's not that surprising. But for them to be in first this far, I mean, it's kind of interesting. Then you have my team, Tigres. They're doing good. There's some room for improvement. We lost to Chivas, and surprisingly, they celebrated like they won the World Cup. But yeah, one of the players that's on a roll right now is Gignac. He has the most goals scored for Tigres in history. He just had a hat trick this past weekend. He's the one that scored all 3 goals. So he is at 108 goals. 8 goals for Tigres. So it's pretty interesting. He already made history with the club, so we can see how that goes. But coming up on Friday tomorrow, the 2 matches that are going to be up are Puebla and Pachuca. I would go ahead and pick Pachuca maybe. Both those teams are not that interesting in my opinion. Then you got Atlas and Cruz Azul. That would be pretty interesting because you have Atlas that's in 5th, and then you have Cruz Azul who's trying to fight their way. If they were to win, it could bump them up to 6th or 7th place.
Wow.
And then you roll over to Saturday. San Luis versus Tigres. The last time San Luis played Tigres was, I believe, 2012, I believe. 2012? Yeah, because all of Monterrey traveled to San Luis and took over the stadium. Basically, San Luis was the visiting fans. Supposedly, tickets are sold out. Should be interesting. I'm obviously going to go with Tigres because San Luis is down at the bottom. 3 points. I think they only won 1 game. I'm not sure. Then you have León versus Chivas. I'm really hoping León beats Chivas because Chivas, after winning 1 game,
Man, these fans,
they feel like they can win everything. But like I said, I don't think León really has that confidence anymore.
Now, and where are these Chivas fans at? I mean, I know Jonathan watches this, other guys that you guys usually comment on here about Chivas. I mean, what was it? They won a game. Okay, 7 points, including they won a couple games in a tie, whatever. Yeah. And it's like they forget that before that they hadn't won a game since late April.
Yeah.
I mean, in all types of matches combined. I'm like, Chivas fans, just slow your freaking roll, man. That's stupid.
Yeah, and then you got America versus Monarcas. I'm gonna go ahead and after seeing the game, and I don't know, America's having trouble with their defense right now. I'm gonna say that might end up as a tie. They're having some trouble with their defense.
I'm waiting on him to jump in on this.
And they might lose one of their players to a European team that's to play in the Champions League. So for some reason, everybody's buying players from America. So it should be interesting how that goes for them. I don't know what your thoughts on
Richard, any
that.
response to that? Our in-house Americanista?
Well, honestly, I would hate to disagree, but it's true. It's true. Yesterday we saw the level of how much it means when you play in so many different competitions, what it's gonna do to your players. And unfortunately, since the last game that they had at Toluca, the defense really showed how weak they are after losing probably like one of their star players, like Emmanuel Aguilera, which he wasn't able to play yesterday. Which now Bruno, he's been a little bit of hothead this past week, which now leaves the job to all these young players like Carlos Vargas, Sanchez, and what's the other guy's name? I don't know. See, they're just so young, and
I just feel like the stage is too big for them. So for them to come and play on the first team, and then they have to hold up an expectation because America is one of those teams that's always up there. For them to come onto the stage and try and play that role and show them like, okay, we can give you the happiness and we can show you that we're up there. it's kind of difficult for them to handle.
I mean, I'm not comparing America to the Dynamo, but we talked about this before. Like when we talked about the Dynamo being in basically 3 different tournaments at once, right? Being in doing the U.S. Open, CONCACAF Champions, and regular league play at the same time. And I hear what Richard's saying. That kind of fatigue because America was on tour. Tigres as well. All summer in different matches. I mean, even though this is over, even though the whole Campeón de Campeones that's over, I mean, don't forget, you 2 guys are playing next Tuesday here in Houston. So that Leagues Cup is still going on.
Right.
On top of, America playing this weekend. So, personally, I think they're still, obviously, it's America, they're a strong team, but the fatigue is real. I mean, that's what's tough. That's why your hats go off to the teams that heck, look at Europe. I mean, Liverpool, reigning Champions League, champions, and they're up there in Premier League, but they're not winning Premier League titles. I mean, maybe that'll change this year, but it's hard. It is. You are a special team if you can maintain winning, staying on top of your game domestically, and taking advantage of those international. At the end of the day, being in those things, win or lose, you are a winner because you have to be a winner to get in those things.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
And the same thing. Tigres has experienced that recently as well.
Yeah, I feel like America is just in one of those situations where it's too many competitions that they're in, so they're trying to. I feel like they don't know what they should put their focus on. Obviously, this past game it was a trophy, and they wanted to keep it on the Mexican side because the first cup that happened, Tigres beat Toronto.
Yeah.
So it was up to them. Okay, let's keep it in Mexico. But I just feel like they're in too many competitions right now. They obviously don't want to look bad in Liga MX because if they look bad, then it's just going to spread and it's going to look bad for them. But they also want to try and win the Leagues Cup. And they wanted to win the Campeones Cup. I mean, it's too much for them. But now that they got one thing out of the way, they still got one more game for a separate tournament, and then they still got the beginning of Liga MX.
Right.
Yeah. What are your 2 teams? Don't forget, Tuesday it ain't gonna be over with this Leagues Cup. You're going on again.
Exactly, and it's a good and it's a gift and a curse, I would say, because this is exactly what we wanted. I feel like we talked about this earlier in July and even June when we said what was going to be the outcome of these little leagues where MLS versus Liga MX, and I feel like yesterday it gave a really great taste of a match. I looked at last year's match between Tigres and Toronto, and Toronto's fans didn't even bring that much energy into it. And the fact that it was cold, it was in September, the game was in September. It just had all the, Tigres somehow managed to win that game without even having any competition.
That's a huge point, 'cause that's even more impressive, because I always said this whole Campeón de Campeones thing heavily favors MLS. Because, Atlanta is doing their thing. They won the MLS title. This is back, last fall.
Yeah.
Last December. It was in December.
Yeah.
They won their league championship. And they're sitting around the whole time, because that's after Clausura. They're waiting on Apertura to finish up. And it's like, and then you go straight into summer play and tournaments. So they're sitting there all casual. That's what, I've always said that favors. I still think they need to move this thing. They need to change it somehow to where it's not, it's so heavily in MLS favor.
If anything, after yesterday's game, a lot of people are saying, everybody's always saying that Liga MX is so superior to MLS. They're saying a team that's only been around for 3 years to come around and win this, it goes to show that MLS is not that much of a joke as people think. There's talent in MLS. And obviously, you're talking about Atlanta. They just came up 3 years ago, but their roster's solid. They won the championship, I believe, last year.
Yeah,
they won it last year. So it's not one of those teams that you can just push around. Then you got Monterrey versus Toluca also on Saturday. That should be interesting. Toluca sometimes surprises you, but Monterrey needs to okay, we're getting
at
into
home
it
too. Because the one thing I mentioned about Monterrey, my thing watching them is they're up to a rough start. Keep in mind, I believe 3 out of the first 4 games have been on the road.
Yeah.
So they started. I knew they were going to have a rough patch opening up on the road in Azteca against America, and then being on the road. So now they're back at home. take advantage of being in Monterrey while the Tigres are away, and take care of Toluca. I mean, they're at the bottom. Beat them while they're down, but I guess beat them while they're down. I mean,
yeah, I mean, I think it's time for Monterrey to. You're going back home, get in rhythm, find the rhythm that you need, and take advantage of it. You're playing a team that's at the bottom. Can you do it? Yes, but you just cannot get overconfident and score the goals, but also keep playing the game that you're playing. And you roll over to Sunday, you got Pumas versus Veracruz.
Oh, God.
That is probably going to be the easiest game, even though I want Pumas to lose.
Yeah, Pumas fans, because y'all, I will roast you so hard. Because they're some of the only ones that are bigger talkers are Chivas fans, quite frankly. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, Pumas, Veracruz, that should be an easy game. That should be at 12. And then you got Necaxa versus Santos. Santos being in first, I'm going with Santos. Necaxa is, they don't have anything that's catching my attention. 4 points, 11th place. It's nothing to be excited about. But those are the games for this weekend. If you are interested, starting tomorrow, ending on Sunday.
Week 5.
Got some good matchups. But yeah, tune into that. They did change their channel listing, but most of the important games are on TV, so you could find them. And then rolling over to Copa Libertadores, that is, I guess you can say, well underway. You have your normal teams in there. You got your Bocas, you got your Gremios and stuff like that.
I did have one question for you before we get into that. I forgot to ask. They're out of the 3 teams that still haven't lost a game. I mean, Santos has been a perfect 4-0. Querétaro, the surprise, and America 3 wins, 1 tie. Out of those 3 teams, who do you see? I mean, do you see any of those 3? Who's most likely to fall this week? Because you go back to it, America. Who are they playing this week? Are they?
Morelia.
Morelia, Monarcas this week, and then you have Querétaro's playing. I'm going blank. Or are they the ones off? There's always somebody off now.
Yeah, Querétaro's off.
So they're off. So it's not them. So do you think there's a chance that Santos?
Or America.
And America, and Santos playing Necaxa. So Santos on the road and Necaxa, and America at home versus Monarcas. Do you think those 2 guys either one of them get their first loss or no?
I honestly see America taking the loss this weekend.
Ooh.
Just because they have to try and bounce back from the loss that they had, and I feel like they still have a few days to bring themselves back together. They play on Saturday. It's a Saturday afternoon game.
Right.
And then they're playing at home.
Right.
But, I mean, I don't think it's enough time for them to figure out their defensive situation. Obviously, we all know the big news. Memo Ochoa is back in Mexico.
Prodigo.
Not so excited about that.
Don't get this half the couch started on.
But, yeah, I mean, I still feel like they're trying to figure it out. Defensive situation, who can we put in? They still don't know if they're about to lose a player or not, because the deadline, it should be coming up soon.
Yeah.
But I feel like America still needs to sit down and figure out, okay, who's in our lineup? What can we do to fix it? Because there's this gap in their lineup that's getting beat, and that's where the goals are scored.
Now, another thing I just asked, now, reverse, look at the flip side. Out of all the teams that have started off the first month crappy, so let's say they're spots 11 through 19, let's off these teams: Necaxa, León, Monarcas, Juárez, San Luis, Pachuca, Puebla, Toluca, Veracruz. Who do y'all think is going to be the most likely that we're going to see in the playoffs by the end of the season? That they're going to work their way in the top 8, and they're actually going to be who has the highest probability, as do you think, to work their way up and possibly get up there right in the middle of the pack?
Well, I think it is surprising that Toluca has not been doing well.
Yeah.
And neither has Pachuca. These are 2 teams that are usually mid-table above, and right now they are not mid-table. They are at the bottom. Mm-hmm. But I am going to go with who, I don't know if y'all would expect the same thing, but I think San Luis. Mm-hmm. They are kind of like our version of the Atlanta United, where now that they've reformed, now that they have the backup from Atletico Madrid, the fans, I think, have been showing up to these games.
Yeah.
So they have that support from the fans, and they have the money. So I think whatever necessary changes that they're making right now to get above, I think right now they've just been facing all the top teams and Chivas. Mm-hmm. So, unfortunately, that's why they haven't been winning. But now the good games, the games that they should be winning, are going to be coming up. So I think they're going to be taking advantage of that, especially if they have them at home.
I mean, I have to say, I'm going to go with Morelia, with Monarcas on this. I mean, I think they're always a dangerous wild card. I used to feel that way about Toluca, but for some reason, Monarcas, I think, still has it. I mean, yeah, they're only 3 points after the first 4 games, but sitting at 13, I think Monarcas. I think that's my pick. I think they could work their way up. I look at that 8th spot. I'm going to say right now, I'm not a believer. They're going to fall out. They're going Querétaro. Yeah, they started hot. I think they're going to fall out. Yeah, I think you're going to see Monarcas surge. I think the real question for me is what happens with that middle group with Pumas, Monterrey, Cruz Azul. Because remember, those 3 are historically playoff teams, and they're all 3 sitting out of those non-playoff spots except for Pumas. So I want to see kind of, if 2 out of those 3 falls, I think Monarcas can weasel their way up there.
Right.
Yeah, that's my pick.
I think Pumas would fall. Probably they would either fall down and barely make it, or they're gonna miss it by a couple inches. Querétaro's gonna fall. The 2 teams that I think can pull it off, León, they could bounce back. They just have to get in rhythm like they were this past season. Once they get in rhythm, they'll be up there. Necaxa, those players are hungry. They want it. A lot of people thought when they came up from 2nd division they disappeared right away, but they've stuck around. They have talent. They're hungry for it. I think Pumas would fall down to 8th, maybe 9th. Querétaro will fall off. They're not going to do so good for long. Atlas, the way that they're playing, I could see them sticking around for a little bit, but at the end of their schedule gets harder, so that's what matters. And Monterrey, I can see them being either 4th or 5th. They're going to be fighting to get home field advantage, or they're going to fall short, and they're still going to be in playoffs, but they're not going to get home field advantage.
Watch Monterrey. My pick is I predict that Monterrey, and going into the final 6 games of the season, will be out of the playoff rankings. But in the last 6 games, the last 6 weeks, will make a surge and go from somewhere to about 9th or 10th, where they are now, and they're going to surge up to about, like I said, 4 or 5. Why? Look at the schedule. It is a wacky schedule this season. And remember, the same schedule as Raul's pointed out to me before, the schedule for the Clausura is the same schedule for the Apertura. They got a crappy start to the schedule, but the end of the season is a nice, sweet. I think those last 6 games, 5 of them are against teams that are currently ranked 14 or lower.
Right.
So, and God help me, I know this is the new season. I swear Veracruz is not relegated. These guys are clowns. Veracruz does not belong in the 1st division. Give me Dorados. Give me Atlante at this point. Give me someone. Give me Llanos Negros. I don't care. Just don't give me Veracruz because they're a joke. But you know what? As I told us, they're going to stick around because Liga MX is going to go to 20 teams next year. Right. They say they're still talking about it. They're going to go to an even number. They're going to go to 20. They want to be like the Premier League. At the same time, MLS is expanding.
Right, and the thing is that they could do it a different way instead of, I feel like the way that San Luis became a 2nd division team by becoming an expansion franchise. I feel like that's kind of what they would need to replicate from the MLS to kind of make it a little bit more worthy. Where you're like, these teams are bringing in money, these teams are... But Veracruz, really?
Consistently.
Yeah.
And they've lucked out. I mean, one time it was because of what? The money, because the team that was supposed to come up didn't have the right...
stadium size.
The right stadium. Then the other time they bought their way in. This time it was because of the expansion, because Lobos got bought and all this other stuff. I'm just like... They have been one of the... They're that guy... They're that guy that doesn't do crap in class. Your friend in class that's on the group project... but somehow gets associated. He always gets the A or B on the project, but really gave like a freaking F effort. But you're just like, oh, we like him. He's a cool guy. He's been around for a while, so yeah, we'll just let him coast. I mean, Veracruz is coasting like that guy on the group project that does nothing, and it's time to call his butt out and make him do something on his own. Okay, sorry, I had to rant on that.
All right, we're gonna switch down to Copa Libertadores. Yes, quarterfinals. They start the 20th of this month and the 22nd.
Leg 1.
Leg 1, you got Gremio versus Palmeiras. I would go ahead and say Gremio is one of those teams that's pretty strong.
I'm going to go Palmeiras on this one. They impressed me in the last round, how they took care of business. I'm going to pull up some of these, because some of these guys, the not quarterfinals, the round before this round 16 was not, I mean, it was some wacky games where, like, people did not, you either got dominated and went on, or you, like, barely squeaked by. And if I remember right, okay, here, I have it up. Gremio dominated. They had a 5-0 aggregate and just killed Libertad in there. Palmeiras, they 6-2 aggregate. That second round, that's the game I watched. I saw it was on FS1. Palmeiras killed Godoy Cruz 4-0 back on the 30th, and I don't know. I like them.
I've always seen the way Gremio played, and I always tend to stick with Gremio because they're a solid team. But going on to the second game, you got Quito versus Boca Juniors. Obviously, Boca Juniors with the big mood of De Rossi going over there. He finally scored his first goal. Obviously, Boca Juniors is one of the favorites to always win. I'm going with Boca Juniors on that one.
Yeah, I'll go with Bocas as well. I mean, they had kind of a slow start. It was 1-0, 2-0, but they had a clean sheet. I mean, they're always the favorites. I do like, if you're looking for the underdog to cheer for. I mean, El Dio Quito has not been up in champions in Libertadores that much. They won aggregate 4-2 over Olympia. Not a bad team, but they haven't really been challenged. I was impressed. They actually pulled out a tie in the second leg despite having a red card early. So they're a tough team. Bocas won't be able to cruise on them, but
it's in their favor.
It's hard to bet against Bocas.
Yeah, and then they're finishing at home.
Having that advantage at home is huge.
And the next game, we got Flamengo versus Internacional. I would say maybe that is probably one of the most difficult games to choose what team you want. I'm going Internacional just because they've always had a solid team. I've always liked the way they play. Even though Flamengo is a good team, I'm just going to stick with Internacional just because they have Rafael Sobis.
I'd go with Internacional as well, so I'll agree with you on this one. Flamengo struggled against Emelec. I mean, I know Emelec's not bad, but it is aggregate 2-2. They had to go to penalties. It's very rare. They're the only one, in fact, that for elimination. Now, they killed when it came down to penalties, but the fact that for them to advance, Flamengo not only, they were down 0-2 aggregate. They then came back, scored 2 goals, won 2-0, and forced penalties in leg 2, and win those penalties. One would say, oh, that's impressive. I view it as you were desperate.
Yeah, you struggled.
And can you pull that off again? I don't think so.
No.
Right, and this time it's the opposite because, again, I feel like within the South American leagues, your home advantage is a real home advantage.
Yeah.
So wherever you end up playing that second leg, you're going to be, unless you do something that first match, you're not going to do anything.
And then the final one is River Plate versus Portero. Right?
Porteño.
Obviously the favorite is River Plate. It's always going to be River Plate. And as much as I hate them, I'm going to go with River Plate. They have a solid team. It's just the style that they play, the environment. You're playing in Argentina. There's really no way of bringing in fans, so you can have that push. Playing in River Plate, I'm gonna pick River Plate to advance easily on that one.
Yeah, I'm using the reverse logic that I just used because people don't realize, although it's the mighty River Plate, they also advanced on penalties. It was a scoreless 2 legs, 0-0-0-0. And it came down to in River Plate with once again winning 4-2 on penalties. So they had a hard time scoring against Cruzeiro, but Cruzeiro's a good team. Instead of Porteño, they had their hands full. They were playing San Lorenzo, another Argentinian team, and they were able to close it out in the second game. But once again, you have to, when you get to these final stages. I agree. I think Richard pointed out you have to give a lot of credence to having that home field in the second leg.
But it turns out to be like a funny situation because I feel like what Libertadores is trying to avoid is having another Boca versus River
They're
Plate.
trying to.
They're trying to avoid it. They don't want it to happen. So the way River Plate is playing, it's not how they normally play.
No.
But we already seen how that final went, and it had to be moved to Barcelona. And it's like, yeah, I think they want to avoid it. And God forbid that there is another final with Boca and River Plate, because that would just be an all-out war.
Where would it be hosted this time?
Anywhere but U.S. and Argentina, please. Well, I'd like to see it here, but
Well, like I said, that leg you mentioned is next week.
Yeah.
Leg 2 with all these matchups are a week right after that, so it's going to be quick. We'll know by the end of August.
Yeah.
27th, 28th, 29th is leg 2. And then the semifinals, we're down to our final 4. Actual kickoff at the end of September, with the finals being played right around the week before Thanksgiving. So, they spread it out, but it'll be fun to watch that as they go on. So, I appreciate Raul leading us through Liga MX, a little South American football. Let's turn it over to segment 2, rolling on with Richard Romero, leading us away with some women's soccer and a lot of action in Europe as they kick off their seasons.
Right. Okay. So, as some of y'all have been noticing, I've been posting a lot more of like the match highlights, and unfortunately NWSL doesn't have like complete match highlights for the whole week. It's individually, which would be terrible for doing a post for every single match. So what I've been doing is that I've been highlighting the one match that I've liked based on the highlights, and trying to provide a little bit more access for us to kind of be more involved into the women's soccer following the Women's World Cup. I had a chance to get to know our Houston Dash local team here and see how they're in a similar boat as our Dynamo, where they've been struggling trying to get to the playoffs.
Bad.
But the thing
I actually got to sit next to him. I don't know if I told y'all this story real fast. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I got to sit next to. I was at the Dynamo game, and we'll get to the Dynamo sucking. But of course, Dynamo were sucking. And shout out to our friend Marco. We're not going to say what he does, but because of him, I was down on the field and sitting there for a halftime thing. I guess they were recognizing all the Dash who had been played for the World Cup. And we had no one from USA on the Dash, but there are like six players who played on other teams.
Yes.
And I realized that I turned over, and it's what's her name, Lauren Daly from
Rachel Daly.
Rachel Daly from England.
Yeah.
And then I looked down, I'm like, Dash player, and there were 4 out of the 6 who played in the World Cup. So that was kind of cool. They were just kind of casual, just chilling and watching the Dynamo, and then they were getting recognized at that time. Sorry, I just had that.
No, it's nice. It's
Name
nice.
drop.
Yeah, we did have a lot of representatives. I mean, essentially, the NWSL, this is what I like about it. It is sort of what the MLS has become in terms of getting all these players, but they're doing what Liga MX is doing with the Argentinian players, which is providing them access to be good players for their respective national teams. Which, I mean, the fact that the Houston Dash hasn't been able to perform at the level that the league has expected to, they've still been able to provide World Cup players.
That's what I never understood. It's like you see the Dash play, and they're not playing the way they should be or the way that they're expected to play. But you see other teams like Orlando and stuff like that. Those teams, they play very well. I don't know if it's because the players that play there, or is it because they get behind them? I don't really understand that.
Well, I think something to keep in mind is just how the league is formatted. It's 9 teams right now. It used to be 10. Boston Breakers ended up dropping, so sucks for them. But they went down to 9 teams. So now this whole league, which starts around April, after the MLS, it starts, and then they play each team 3 times. So you play the same teams back to back to back.
Yeah, you know your opponents very well.
Right. Exactly. So if you don't have the solidarity from your team to back you up and provide you the necessary training, necessary players to back you up in the field, it's going to be a tough season. Which, I mean, even though sometimes you're going to win a match, sometimes you're going to lose a match. So that's the thing. It's the unpredictability based on what people were expecting from the Dash was over the World Cup for them to actually win, since all these other teams were going to be losing World Cup players.
Well, and isn't it most of them, there's a few exceptions. I was looking at it. Most NWSL teams, are playing in the same markets as existing MLS teams, men's teams, and they're owned by the same people. Like the Dash are owned by the same people in the Dynamo, it's the ownership groups, everything. And so it goes back to we talked about the power of your organization. I mean, that academy level is not just now boys and men; it's women. It's not a surprise to me. For example, I pull up the standings, and I'm not surprised when I look at it. Who's number one? It's the Portland Thorns, affiliated, obviously owned by the Portland Timbers. We no doubt that's a strong academy system, organization, ownership, and so it makes me think. There's a correlation there. And yeah, it's just something interesting I saw. That not for all of them. There's some that stand out.
Yeah,
but
North Carolina Courage, which are providing most of your U.S. women's national team players from there. Which, as I posted, this was the match of the week in my opinion, was the Portland Thorns versus the North Carolina Courage, because North Carolina was top place last week, and after losing to Portland at home, that just brought them back down. And now that the Utah
Oils,
they just ended up winning their match. Now they're over the Dash, and they brought them down to 6th place again.
What's killing the Dash is that I was just glancing at it, is that they're only that -9 goal differential. I mean, they can put up goals with the best of them. You look at goals, you look at the goals for, but the goals against. I mean, they've had clearly some issues on that back line and keeper.
Yeah,
I mean, if only the Dynamo would be able to help the way Portland helps out their women's team. If the Dynamo would be able to do that, then the Dash would be up there. But I mean, you already know how Portland Timbers are. I mean, they're obviously going to apply that to their women's team. That's why they are up there. Their academy and all that. It's amazing.
Culture. It's cultural. I mean, which pisses me off so much that sorry for my language. It's just that if Portland and Seattle can develop the soccer cultures that they have, and even LA and some of these other places, Chicago and other places, I don't know what the hell is Houston's excuse, because like I said, I directly say the success. This goes when we talk about the Dynamo, but the Dash even more so.
Right.
The women's teams are successful in communities that support them, and then there's a soccer culture. You can't tell me there's not a strong soccer culture in Houston. The problem is the soccer culture in Houston, because we're almost overly international, in my opinion. That's what I kept thinking about. I'm like, what's going on? And the problem is, most Houstonians, most people who live in this region who are soccer fans, they are so loyal to teams outside of Houston,
right?
Liga MX or Europeans.
Right.
Crazy if you go down to, I forgot what bar they're at, the Liverpool Houston chapter, and those guys are nuts. And it's like, people always say, why not Houston? Why not Houston? That's what's going on. For whatever reason, the soccer fans in Houston, they're Houstonians, but their loyalties either because they came from someplace or their parents came from someplace are not here. And so the challenge is, and it shouldn't be that much of a challenge, is converting some people or getting some people involved, because that fan base is just gonna help everybody around.
Right, for sure.
I think in order for Dash to get that, they have to do what the Dynamo did with the U.S. Open. Yeah, they're gonna win a few games here and there, but they have to get to the end. And if they can prove that they can make it to the end and win it, then they'll start bringing out a few more people. But I think it's a long road for them. They just have to make the right moves to get there.
So do you think that this tournament would benefit from having a more expansion teams on it, rather than it being able to them having kind of like a liguilla of sorts, instead of having
they need to. Yeah, they need to.
Because essentially the top 4 teams who stay up at the front, they know they're going to play some sort of round robin within each other, because they're going to go into the semifinals and then the finals match, and that's it.
They need at least 15 teams.
Well, here it comes down to more teams. What does that require? Money.
Money, yeah.
Quality players, money. More facilities, training, money. I hate to say it, but unfortunately, it's yet something else that comes down to money and investing. And people don't. Sorry, there's not people that have the balls enough to encourage. These owners still don't.
They're investing more money into players and expansion teams instead of investing into a league that they already brought up. I mean,
watch this. I'm going to argue, because if I see this, is because not next season, the season after, Austin FC is coming on as an MLS team.
Yeah,
we're going to have 3 MLS teams in Texas. There's already been talks about Austin FC also developing a women's affiliate to join the NWSL, because the fervor it's a fever pitch.
Right.
I mean, they have 20,000 seats in their stadium, something like that, and they have 30,000 people who want season tickets. And so it's there. I would not be surprised. And they have ownership that's putting in money. They're Soccer Spring Stadium. There's dropping cash. Only professional sports franchise in town. I think Austin is going to become the mecca in Texas for women's soccer. Watch. I guarantee you, because it's a simple thing. Put in the money, get people excited, and invest. I mean, it's a natural thing. And like I said, there's certain sports that don't work. That ain't going to work. I don't care what people say. Some of you want a hockey team in Houston, you're idiots. But hockey doesn't work here.
No.
Soccer does. There's enough natural stuff there.
Right.
Real quick.
Oh,
Tony, stay in Dallas.
Get out of here. Stay in Dallas with your FC Dallas nonsense.
We don't need that. We need only Dynamo, and we only accept Austin. That's about it.
But
And the San Antonio Scorpions.
But essentially, we would need all these MLS teams to have their women affiliates to create sort of a more competitive league than what exists now. Because right now, it's pretty dominated by these 4 teams. These 4 teams end up in some shape or form. They've been the top 4 teams.
Competition,
right?
But they need more teams.
Well, that's why American men leagues are expanding.
Yeah.
That's why do you think Liga MX all of a sudden wants to go to 20 teams, or why MLS wants to go to 28 and potentially probably 30 by the end of it? Because competition, money, and people aren't. It also goes back. Here's the other thing: the pay disparity.
Right. Yeah.
You're not going to get quality, players. Women, they can't afford. If you can't even. If you're a professional women's soccer player, you can't even support your family. Have you seen the salary some of them get?
Yeah.
If you're not a star right now, if you're not an all-star, even a star,
Yeah.
some stars are getting the same. I'm saying this as an educator, are getting the same as a Texas public educator, teacher, that are on the dash. But there are teachers getting paid more than that. You see how crappy teachers get paid. I mean, if that's what you're getting, and you're playing a professional sport, men or women, I don't care.
Right.
There's an issue there. Now, if we go deeper in the debate, do I think that they deserve the same as that in terms of what's on the field right now? Right now, no. But I do think you're never going to get anywhere close unless you put some more money in. Right. So it's a vicious cycle back and forth.
They just treat the women's league like a Sunday league. Like, no, build it more than that.
And see, that's the only way it's treated just here in the U.S. Because there is no affiliation between NWSL and MLS.
Which makes it ironic that the USA keeps whooping butt on the international level when we treat our domestic league like a joke.
Yeah.
They want to beat us in the World Cup. If they're pissed they didn't beat us, France and England, what are they doing in their women's leagues? They're investing.
Yeah.
They have.
Some of the top Americans, where are they at? They're playing in the Women's Premier League.
Right.
Women's France now. France's Women's League has I can't tell how many times I was watching games at World Cup for other countries. They're like, well, half these players play right here in this town in Nice, France, or in Paris. It's like they're all playing over here.
Yeah, they invest in their teams, and I feel like the U.S. is not getting behind the women's teams, which they need to, because if you want to expand men's teams, instead of expanding men's teams, how about you build up the women's teams that you have? How about every expansion team that you have, bring in a women's team with it. Don't just bring a men's team and then leave it at that.
That's interesting.
I mean, it's like what they do in Liga MX. Majority of the time when you bring in a new Mexican team, they add a women's Mexican team.
Right.
So you have both. And for whatever reason, in Mexico, a lot of people seem to get behind the women's teams also. And
it's like
that's what they need to do here.
What was it you were saying? What did you said one time? If you look at like La Liga, like Barcelona, right? I was kind of cracked up when I used to play like NBA 2K, and I'm just like, there's a Barcelona basketball team, and they have the same uniform. Like, what the hell? Like that idea of an organization, a sports organization, that's something. I mean, it's very European. I get that you unify that, but it creates quality because you got this mega. It's almost like a corporation. It's like we got men's and women's soccer, we got men's and women's, and it so happens that their men's soccer team is the biggest thing in their brand.
And their basketball team is also one of the best ones.
Right.
And their women's soccer team too.
I just feel like for some reason the U.S., when it comes to soccer, even men's soccer, they don't take it serious. But I guarantee you, if they were to bring in a women's football league, everybody would go nuts. Why? Because everybody loves football in the U.S. If they would have if you would show that same love to soccer, show it to the women's and men's. Come on, man. The women's won 2 World Cups in a row, and the men's haven't. What more do you want? They're bringing the U.S. happiness. They went to France. They won it in France. I mean, what more can you ask for?
Right.
It's
And now these players are now back home from the U.S. So now that's telling you, where are we going to take this? Where is the league going to go from here out? And now, especially now that the Jill Ellis, the coach, is now stepping down, what comes next? I feel like this is a big space and gap of 4 years that the women's soccer has here in the U.S. especially, to see how they're going to develop to create an even more competitive, and may even go for the third straight World Cup.
You have to build. You have to build because I'm sorry, but Alex Morgan and all Hope, Megan
Rapinoe.
Yeah, Rapinoe. They're eventually going to leave, and they're
well,
going to stop playing soccer.
and the competition's getting better. I mean, the rest of the world will do.
You got France, England, Germany.
All European.
Yeah, all those European teams. They look strong now. They're only going to get stronger. So,
like even that Dutch team they played from the Netherlands team was not. Someone I think pointed out is that they're in the World Cup finals. The last World Cup they didn't even qualify for. I mean, they were terribly ranked, and so it's 4 years. It's amazing what that can do. You don't see that. For me, that's one thing I'll give. Like I said, I'm still a bigger fan of the men's game, and I get that. But what I will give credit to the women's game for is that you don't see that anymore. I mean, what's exciting is the women's game. You still have the opportunity now. If you put the money in, you can become huge, literally overnight, a couple of years. The men's game, we don't see that as much, right? If I'm Afghanistan, I'm probably not, and I spend $1 billion on my soccer program, I'm still not going to come close to the giants that dominate that scene because they're so entrenched, the history there. So it's interesting to do that. We're on kind of that precipice in kind of thinking, is the United States going to continue to dominate, or are they going to become kind of lackadaisical and lay back and let someone else rush in? Well,
I think it just depends, but I mean, you got 4 years in the U.S. Everybody that has a team, they obviously need to expand teams, but they also need to start investing money into the women's teams because what you invest is going to get carried out into your national team, but you got 4 years to build it up. You just got done with the World Cup. You brought it home again. Now invest in, because I've seen videos of Alex Morgan visiting games. Obviously, I mean, they're just relaxing because they just won the World Cup. But go out, invest your time, and give your time to other women to help them get better, because she has to step down eventually.
Right.
You have to have at least 12 other players that are willing to take your spot. So, I mean, it just depends. You have to step up.
Yeah. I mean, kind of want to segue into why I kind of want to invite y'all to, because right now the contract for the rest of the season is to have the NWSL feature on Yahoo Sports, which is totally free. If you just go on Yahoo, search up the game, it'll pop right up there. You can watch the games for free. They have 3-2 matches. It's a little bit uneven now. The Houston Dash are the only team that has played all their matches so far. Right now they're on their bye week. So they'll be coming back next week and playing against, I believe, Sky Blue FC, which is the recent expansion team. So there is expansion teams, but the fact is that when one expands, one drops and one leaves the league, which is sad. But the Liga MX, though, however, they are the ones that continue to expand and have expanded to the same amount of teams as to the males side with 19 teams. Every team that you see on the Liga MX has their women's counterpart. Yeah. And most of these games have now been accessed. If you have TUDN, you can access those games and see them over the weekend. They play Fridays, one game on Saturday, one game on Friday, and then the rest are on Monday.
Yeah, Monday evenings. They play during the week, so you can catch those games sometimes. Sometimes you catch them on Facebook. Sometimes if you follow the team on the page, they normally broadcast them on their Facebook pages. So you don't have to pay for anything. Just hop on your Facebook, watch the game, and it should be there for free.
Which makes it more accessible to watch. So
yeah.
So I guess kind of getting late. So I guess I'll go into the European leagues. But they have started. More of them will continue to start this weekend. But so far, Premier League got up to a start, and let me pop this shot up right here. And these are our matches that are going to be coming down. I mean, I think the most notable thing that we can see here was that Manchester United defeated Chelsea 4-0. I think that was the most surprising game out of the first week.
Chelsea's been off a little bit. I mean, you think about how they ended last season, kind of off. And, I remember what was it, a couple years ago, even just a couple years ago, everyone was like, Chelsea was like the team.
Right.
And then they kind of Man City supplanted them, and now Liverpool and Man U's back, and so I don't know. Chelsea's kind of floating around out there.
Yeah. So I mean, the ones that kicked off to a good start: Manchester United, Manchester City, and of course, all the other teams. I mean, we have our three three teams that have come from relegation: the Norwich City, Aston Villa, and Chef.
Do you know how I don't claim to be an expert in the Premier League. I didn't know it was possible that three teams would come up at the same time.
Yeah, so the way that it goes is 3 teams leave, 3 teams come up.
Oh, really? I didn't know it was a full 3. I thought it was like 2. I didn't know it was 3.
So they do it by like points, or?
So the thing is that I was trying to look at how that works because they also play like their own finals games. So I guess whoever ends up the top 3 out of the whole tournament. So you have the champion. The champion ends up coming up first, which I think here was Aston Villa, who ended up winning the whole thing, or Norwich. Correct me if I'm wrong.
And Aston Villa is a historical team. It's kind of like if Atlante came up.
Right. Exactly, yeah. Yeah, so as you can see here, I just pulled up the matches for the second week. And I don't know about you guys, but personally, I am more excited about the Wolverhampton versus Manchester United, because Wolverhampton ended up coming back from Leicester, visiting Leicester, and tying 1-1. And I mean, that's where Raul Jimenez plays now, so I kind of have a little bit of loyalty towards him and kind of supporting him, seeing a Mexican kind of like be up there and playing against Manchester United. So hopefully they don't get crushed like Chelsea did, but they'll be at home, which being at home for a game like that, oh my gosh, it's insane. But what do you guys think?
I'm looking forward to that. Looking at this week, Man City and Tottenham Hotspurs. I mean, Spurs had a interesting run, in the champions, and got pretty deep. I mean, obviously almost there, and I want to see how they match up with Man City, who's always been the last 3 years one of the favorites to win it all and has won it. So that's kind of the match I want to see. And then, like I said, I mean, the fact that Chelsea just kind of, gave it all up that first week. How do they bounce back against Leicester City? It would be interesting to see what happens there. Oh, I will say in general, this whole season of Premier League, I'm really curious to see how Arsenal does. Because Arsenal's claimed all these moves, and they got James Harden and Adidas out there trumping around, parading around. Someone did say it. I hate to say this as a Rockets fan, but like the Arsenal really is like the Houston Rockets of the Premier League. Always good, a lot of stars, get in the playoffs, sort of thing, but can never get the deal done. And I'd like to, just like I want to see the Rockets get the deal done and win an NBA championship. I think it'd be cool to see Arsenal actually do something again that they haven't done in a very long time.
Right.
Well, Arsenal made a couple moves. I mean,
significant moves.
They make significant. Well, I mean, there was one point where they made strong moves, and I was like, "Oh man, they're stacked." And then they played. I was like, "Well, this is garbage. This was a waste of moves." But now they made moves that stand out, so I think they should be pretty good. And then obviously Chelsea, they lost the Super Cup to Liverpool, but Liverpool's on a roll.
Man, Liverpool's just rolling right now.
Liverpool's on a roll. I mean, you got Mo Salah. Obviously, he's taking on everybody. He basically controls the league at this point, especially since Chelsea lost, I believe.
David Luiz just recently, who they lost. Eden Hazard. They lost to Real Madrid.
Hazard's now going to be the hero of Madrid.
Yeah, so I mean, it should be pretty interesting. But I mean, Arsenal is one of those teams that you can look at. Chelsea, if they don't get themselves out of this hole, it might be downhill. And then Tottenham, this is one of those teams that they surprise you sometimes. Like, they may look bad at the beginning, but once they get the ball rolling, they're up there. You can't really stop them.
Harry Kane's the only guy in interviews that sounds like he's permanently concussed.
Yeah.
But that's just I forget where he is from in England, but it's like Harry Kane. It's just like, dude, what are you speaking English? But the guy scores goals, and that's all that matters.
Yep, he gives Tottenham Spurs happiness.
All right, so that's Premier League. Thank Richard on that. Any other things we should? I mean, I know. If I looked at it right, La Liga and Bundesliga kick off this week, right?
Yeah, and I'm just pulling up right now the Ligue 1 because it also started.
They did start, yes.
I think, I don't know. I feel sad for all the teams that even make an effort to play that in that league.
Well,
just because it's so dominated by PSG, it's.
Well, that's why I always talk about I think I always mention about Monaco. When we first started this show a couple years ago, Monaco was almost there, and they're like, "Oh, we almost made it." And they're like, PSG, killed them in a final or knocked them out or something, and they're like, "Let's go back to what we used to be, a farm team." And that's what Monaco does. They develop players amazingly in their academy system, and they sell them. They're literally a soccer business. They're a soccer farm. That's what Monaco does. That's what Marseille does. I mean, that's what these guys are doing. And I feel like there's a few of them that try against PSG, but the rest of the teams are like, we're not going to beat them, so let's just make some money and sell our good players to Spain.
Yeah. I honestly think that PSG is not going to be one of those.
Did we lose it?
No, you can still go because it's still rolling.
Oh, yeah. I mean, PSG is one of those teams that's like, it might not be as strong as it was before because they got rid of so many players. I just read recently that Neymar might take 16.6 million less to play with Barcelona.
He wants out bad.
And he wants out bad. He doesn't want to be there anymore. I was kind of surprised that Real Madrid was in talks to get with him. I was like, wait, how's this going to work? Barcelona and Real Madrid fighting to get Neymar. I mean, it's like, what's going on? Why are they doing this? I mean, obviously Neymar, big mood, but I mean, he just injured like not that long ago for like
he was sitting out.
He lost the Copa America.
I've always critiqued him for being he sat out. Yeah, he sat out Copa America because he was injured. I mean, he's a really great player, and yes, he can be a franchise player, but he's not making. I mean, he's not in my mind. He's not worth the hype. What I love about it is look at his teammates. Yeah. I love that whole exchange that Mbappe did. Was basically it's like get the fuck get the freak out of the photo. And
it was like standing in the photo. Hey man, get out of this photo. You didn't do anything. Get out of here.
And it's like he's not afraid to be assertive himself.
He had a good run, but I think his run is just going down, and that's why he wants to go back to those big teams because that's where he's going to be able to pick himself up. But yeah, he felt pretty hard. He slowed down, and it's not what it was before for him. Obviously, you start up and then you go to Barcelona. You're well known. You go to PSG. You go to a PSG team that's stacked. They had players. You go there, you win.
Yeah.
Then you get injured. You have all that. You had a bad run in the World Cup. Then it's like, all right, how can I get myself back up there?
Why does Barcelona want him back so bad? That's the thing. Like, from my mind, I just on Barcelona. Like, if you can't get a bargain, like, sure, great, he's another star player. You don't need him because you have Messi, you have Suarez. You made the Griezmann play. You got Griezmann for crying out loud. You have all this other talent that's overflowing. You got too much. And I said if they did this, are they doing it to build? If the argument is, Messi's going to get old in a couple of years, we need a new Messi. Neymar's not your answer.
I honestly think Griezmann is your new Messi.
Because Neymar's not the same player for one. He's not the same health as Messi has. Right. And it's like he's not the same leader. No. He's selfish in my mind. I'm sorry, but
I think they want to get it. Well, I think they made the move that Coutinho left Barcelona, so I think they need to bring somebody. Coutinho left. Obviously, you have some moving pieces, but
Coutinho he didn't feel valued. Probably, I don't blame him.
No, he didn't feel valued. So, I mean, obviously, once he heard the news that they want to bring Neymar, it's like, well, what am I going to do here? Just sit on the bench and collect money? Obviously, that's a dream job, but I mean. If you love playing soccer, you want to start. You want to do all that. But PSG, I don't think they're going to be down. I actually feel like Monaco or Marseille can be one of those teams that can sneak up and take it. And I'd love to see Marseille take it. No offense to Monaco, but I prefer Marseille.
Yeah.
I can see them.
Yeah, and like I said, and we apologize as you watch. Richard's been handling some of our technical issues as we filled in here. But, I would say this. I am excited to see... La Liga and Bundesliga kicks off. Two things I'm looking forward to with Bundesliga. Number one, there are a lot more Americans in that league. That's Pulisic. I want to see how some of those guys do. For La Liga, I want to see how. I don't think Barcelona, although getting more stronger with Griezmann, I still think Atletico Madrid is a formidable team. And I think the biggest question mark in there is, can they break through? But also, B, is Hazard going to be the hero for Madrid? I am not buying it yet. I don't think Madrid is back.
They got Zidane back. I think they can do it.
Nah.
Zidane was the one that carried them. I feel like he can carry them again. Although Pulisic, he is not in Bundesliga anymore. He moved to
That's right. Sorry.
He's back in Chelsea.
Yeah, he moved to Premier League. So
all right, I go from a winning team to a losing team. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, who knows? Maybe you might be the golden boy and you might carry Chelsea, but I don't see that.
Because apparently the manager there loves them, but
Nah, I don't see it. You should have stayed with Dortmund, but
thinking of what's his name, I was thinking of is it Sargent? What's his name? There's a couple other Americans that are in Bundesliga. Sargent was one I was thinking of. But what's interesting about that league, that league's a little more competitive. But once again, you got your Bayern, you got your Dortmund. This is why once again Premier League out of the big five over there emerges on top because they're the most competitive. Straight up.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is why Liga MX is so popular here. Once again, it can change each year.
You never know who's going to win. And then, here you're seeing a couple of the matches. I was able to watch a couple of the highlights of one of their friendly games that they had before the season starts. Bayern Munich won 23-0 against this little
basketball game.
Yeah. So
is this the Astros versus Baltimore Orioles?
It didn't seem like they had any sympathy for the team that they were scoring.
No.
They just were scoring every 4 minutes.
It's
to
like
be honest.
Atletico versus Real. That game in New York, man, that was bad. But they didn't have all their players, so but those are the friendlies. But Atletico without Griezmann, Atletico
I'm curious.
is pretty solid.
I think I'm curious. I'm more curious now that they're starting again. Is not just the domestic leagues. I'm curious the whole Champions League process starts. There's been a lot of talk. I'm curious that Juventus is going to get in from Serie A. Obviously in the Champions League. I'm really curious. One of the big things you see a lot of people who follow soccer and people who blog about soccer and soccer writers have been saying a lot about is that what are we going to witness here in the twilight of Messi and Ronaldo's careers, right? There is going to be a changing of the guard. Everyone agrees in 3 to 4 years, maybe more, maybe less, they're going to
by the next World Cup.
The end is in sight. The end is in sight.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I'm curious, can there be one last hurrah? I really think Juventus may do, with some of the moves they made, I would not be surprised to see Juventus really challenge. They always do in Champions League.
But actually win one now, right?
Is
it gonna be the one?
Maybe that's motivation for Gigi coming back.
Yeah.
I think if Ronaldo can get one with Juventus, he might leave. He might leave, but where will he go? Will he go back to Madrid, or will he go back to Manchester?
That might put him in another. We go to this whole Ronaldo Messi debate, but that definitely, in my mind, gives him a check in his column in that debate.
Oh yeah, that you can go to another team and
Champions
bring them
League
a
with two different
championship.
teams, two different leagues. That's.
I think he even did they compete? Because when he was with United, did they win one?
He did win one.
So
with
yeah,
Man
three
United.
three teams, 3 leagues. That would be.
You're up there, but obviously the end has to come for both of them. Although Ronaldo is older than Messi, so
2 years, year and a half, 2 years now.
I think 2 years, 2.5.
Yeah, he's
But
34, 36.
I think if he were to get one with Juventus, the question is, okay, you got one with Juventus. Do you stick around? Do I go back to Madrid and carry on with my legacy there, or am I close to the end to where I go back to where I started with Man U and just call it a career there? Because that's what a lot of players like to do. They like to go back to where they started to end their career there.
Ochoa.
You see Ochoa going back to Mexico. Wayne Rooney went back to.
Now he's back to Manchester, or to his local team.
The local team where he started,
he went there. I thought he was gonna retire, and then he went to DC United, and now he's gonna become a coach.
Well, technically, he's still a player, and now he's becoming a coach.
He's a player coach.
Yeah.
which is stupid. But
Yeah, that is.
I wish I could be a player.
That's the
coach.
dream.
Well, this is the only time that. It's like the only time where I'm actually gonna agree with Alexis Lala. Like, okay, yeah, I don't want him to be my player and the coach. Like, okay, I get that, but like, move around with that, man. Like, come on.
Move around.
As you're seeing here, those are the
You need to
first couple
decide what you wanna
matches
be.
that are have been up for a while. The Serie A and La Liga. So you'll be seeing here. You'll be having Juventus playing against Parma at Parma, and Barcelona will be playing against Atletico Bilbao. So
Yeah.
seems like two pretty easy matches.
It's pretty easy for your favorites to start those weeks off. Like I said, I mean that's why guys. That's why everyone still loves Premier League more. I mean, even if you're not a Premier League fan, I mean, for those of you that are just getting into you're just getting into soccer, or you're like, hey, you know, I remember when I first started watching stuff outside the U.S., outside Mexico. I mean, you can't go wrong with the Premier League just because the competition. I mean, week in and week out. I mean, look at the matchups here with Serie A, La Liga, and even Bundesliga. It's like, well, you pretty much know who's going to win, and it's great for betting. You can make a lot of money because you know who's going to win. But Premier League, if you just like something that you just want to see quality matches and parity, you know, competition that they're going in and out, like we see in Liga MX. I wish we would see it more in MLS, but I mean, yeah, it's definitely a lot to watch. So, yeah, it'd be cool to watch them. They're kicking off their season. Remember, they're a one-season style, just like MLS. So most of them are about 34 games long, some to 38. I think.
38 because
38.
they have 20. They have 20
Yeah,
something
20
teams.
teams. They got a 38.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'd be cool to see how that starts panning out because they will be going full steam.
For sure, and yeah, that's all I have for you. So, go on.
Oh well,
back home. Bring it back home.
I get to bring it home and to bring it to the Houston Dynamo. I don't know if we're gonna want to. You may want to censor this segment. You may just want to turn it off and cry.
This will only take us a minute.
Yeah, only a minute. You guys, I said, if you're here, you're obviously watching. Most of you are here in Houston, and if you're in Houston, hopefully you're an Astros fan. And the reason I asked you if you're an Astros fan, all this baseball, is that you can probably remember back in, was it 2005, right, that was the infamous tombstone on the Houston Chronicle, right? It said that the Astros were dead, wrote them off half season, and they miraculously came back and, went to the World Series. What I'm about to do right now, and I'm about to say, and I'm about to make the argument for, is that I'm about to metaphorically create that tombstone again, but for the Houston Dynamo. Now, is it going to inspire them to get the MLS playoffs and win an MLS title? My argument is no, because I think they're dead in the water. Do I hope it does? Sure. I pray and hope that it does. But quite frankly, Houston Dynamo, you're dead to me right now in terms of a playoff team. You're dead to me right now as something that I want to spend my time investing and money investing in. I'm still a fan. I still support my local team, but you guys are making it hard to love you. That's all I'm saying. So, here's my little thing. Let's look at this. Major shakeup. Dynamo thought they fixed it all, right? Oh, let's fire our coach. Wilmer Cabrera finally out. He's been happy. He's been calling for it. All right, fine. You got rid of Wilmer. Way to go. Way to go. So what are you doing? You got assistant Davey Arno. Davey. We got good old Davey, the assistant, who's going to be the interim for the rest of the season. So, okay, you're going to hold off and get a better coach, new perspective, and Matt Jordan made a good job of blah, blah, blah about that in his press conference. Okay, that's all nice, and you move a coach. Let's get to the reality of the problem with the Houston Dynamo. And I've been complaining about him, but now I'm going to call him out, and I want you to tell me if I'm crazy or if you agree with me. Here we go. The Dynamo sit currently 9th place in the West. 6 points out of the playoff spot. 30 points overall in 25 matches. First of all, 30 points in 25 matches is pathetic considering the way you started. Some may say, only 6 points out. Okay, well, here's the problem that I have with that. That's 2 games, right? Well, who's in front of you with those 6 points? Number 8, the Portland Timbers. A perennial playoff favorite, and someone that I don't see giving up real easily when it comes to the end. Who's in that 7th spot? it's your arch enemy and rival FC Dallas with 36 points. Go in front of that in 6th place, you got Salt Lake with 37, and LA Galaxy, who's owned your butts since day one with 37. So unless Salt Lake implodes, and by the way, the highlights will say contrary because they're on fire right now.
Oh, yeah.
You're not going to be doing anything anytime soon. May I mention to you that in your final games, Houston Dynamo, you also have to play the LA Galaxy to close out your last home game. And you have to play several teams. I'll make sure I get it right here because I don't want people saying, oh, Tellez is just going crazy on them.
Calm down, Sean. Calm down.
Which I am because you're making me mad. But we're going to get the facts here. All right.
Nice touch on the screen.
You're playing Colorado this week. The only team that's ranked worse than you. Okay. You then travel to Dallas, who's motivated. You barely beat them 3-2 at home, who want to beat the crap out of you and keep you down. You then play Sporting KC, and that's the last time you're going to play someone who's behind you. Mm-hmm. You got to play Minnesota, who's hot this year in the West.
The reason why we're not in the U.S. Open Cup final.
Eliminated your butt. Orlando in the East, that could be a win, but guess what? It's probably not going to be because you guys suck on the road and now suck at home. We bragged and bragged and bragged about being, but our home record will save us. We're undefeated at home. Really? How's that been since July 4th, you idiots? You've won one game. One at home. You then have to go on the road to LAFC, who embarrassed you in your own house, by the way, and also embarrassed us as a league when our fans, by the way, tried to beat up LAFC fans after you lost. So you guys are pathetic as well. You then have to play Red Hot Real Salt Lake and come home and finish the season against Galaxy. Quite frankly, the reason I'm going to that game, Dynamo, is so I can get a Zlatan signature. That's all I want. I don't want your signatures anymore until half of you are sold like you should be. Let's keep going here because I'm not done. I'm not done. You've only won 2 games total on the road. Pathetic. You continue to be last in the league in payroll. Number 24. So Matt Jordan, you're trying to manage something, but you're managing a pile of crap right now because you're not invested. But wait. We got new players. We spent money and got Superman Christian Ramirez from LAFC. Nico Hansen, defender. Jose Bizama for some whatever crap team in Chile. These guys must be amazing. No, what you just did is you shuffled the deck. It's the same cards in the same deck. Okay? What would have been crazy is if you went and throw those 3 guys away and got an all-star. But no, you stayed in there. You stayed in your safe zone, and you went with guys who are, Christian Ramirez is going to be his 4th team in about 5 years. Yeah, he's played with the U.S. team, 2 appearances, blah, blah, blah. Jose Bizama, don't know, but he's from Chile. He must be good. And Nico Hansen hadn't done nothing for Columbus Crew. Let me see where Columbus Crew are at. Oh, that's right. Nowhere. But, they must be better than the crap we have. Actually, I proved myself wrong. They are better than the crap we have. You know why? Because our guys can't stay on the field, specifically our 2 Honduran all-stars, Elis and Kyoto, who continue to use red and yellow cards. Latest to Kyoto with his stupid red card in the last game that cost us a win. Elis before that serving a match suspension in that game for racking up cards. No discipline, which is why we fired a coach. Now these guys look miserable right now because they didn't know I was going to go off like this, but I had to because as a Dynamo fan, I'm a little bit pissed off. Let's keep going with our facts here. Last 3 games, home loss 0-1 to Chicago, who sucks by the way. Row loss 2-3, late goal game at NYCFC. Row loss, late goal to Philly 1-2. Coming up, they're going to go to the one game. Excuse me. They have not won since they're on the road in Toronto on the 20th of July. They have home against Colorado, away versus Las Vegas Sporting KC, and like I said, sitting 9. Okay. I agree the coach had to be changed. But quite frankly, the time is done. Unless you're going to spend the money, okay, Gabriel Brenner, Oscar De La Hoya, James Harden now, unless y'all want to spend some cash, just blow it up. Just blow it up, stop wasting our time. You also lost a record number of season ticket holders, and that's facts. Don't act and play behind social media and other games. It's facts. You know why? Because membership guys talk to each other. There's groups forming. There's protests. They're walking away in droves. You know why? Because the product, A, sucks. B, you guys are so desperate to fill the stands that you're selling tickets that are that cost less than what a season ticket is worth. You say we get a bunch of benefits. Well, I gotta say, the 15% off I get off the gouged prices in the store, that makes it all worth it. No, it doesn't. So guys, you gotta ask yourself a simple question. If you want to be a successful franchise in the town, you gotta be a product on the field. I suggest you go down the street a couple blocks and go to this little place called Minute Maid Park and talk to an owner named Jim Crane, who found out how to spend money, who found out how to be confident in his management and his players. Then after you're done there, you can go down La Branch and go to this place called Toyota Center and talk to my friend Tillman Fertitta, who came in and said, you know what, I'm going to spend some money and I'm going to trust my guys. Daryl Morey, do something. They're about to have an all-star team with Russell Westbrook and James Harden. Oh, and when you're done there, this is the sad part. You could get on the Metro Rail and go down to Fanning, get off there at NRG, go talk to Bill O'Brien. They don't even have a general manager there because they're that crappy of a team. The Houston Texans, and they got better star players than you do. And a better chance of making the playoffs, and their season hasn't even started. So if you want to learn a thing or two, walk around town. I'm tired of the Houston Dynamo, quite frankly, pissing away the legacy of Houston soccer, because we have a legacy that's proud here, even before the Dynamo were. I'm tired of us not taking advantage of an international soccer community that I don't blame them for embracing their international teams they love, because we're not giving them a product that they should be proud of. You can see time and time again, well, if we win, we get fans in the stands. Go back and forth, back and forth. At the end of the day, you can argue. Spend money, good players, win games, fans will be in the stands. End of story. End of story. Go talk to anyone on the West Coast. Go talk to Atlanta, who just whooped America's butt. That's all that matters. If Atlanta, Georgia can put 70,000 plus people in a football stadium for a soccer game, Georgia, what I think of is I think of a guy on a banjo on a porch, one of the racist places in the world, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're right.
If they can do that for soccer, and there's kids with posters of Joseph Martinez in their rooms, don't even start trying to sell me Albert Ellis and Romel Kyoto, because it ain't going to do crap in this town. And you're doing the fans an injustice by trusting someone like Mauro Manotas and then say you're going to sell his book. Because that's what you guys are going to do. I guarantee you right now, the Dynamo are going to sell him. He's been one of our best goal scorers. He has a single season record. They're going to sell him. They're going to sell him just like they got rid of Cabrera. They're going to sell Ellis to Europe. But you know what? Do it if you're going to then turn around and spend the money. Don't do it if you're not. So, I was supposed to take a 30-minute segment. I did that rant in about 15 minutes. That's my take. Guys, do you got anything?
Me personally, I mean, I'm finally happy that they got rid of Wilmer Cabrera. I've been saying that for the past 2 seasons. They needed to get rid of him. He doesn't know how to control his team. He doesn't know how to control a lineup. He needed help. But the moves that they made, they aren't that great. But with the right coach, they could be great. Okay, so like that guy, he's been, I can't remember his name, but he was around 4 teams in 4 years. Okay.
Christian Ramirez.
Yeah, Christian Ramirez. If you can find a coach that knows what he's doing.
But he scored a goal in his debut, Raul. That's all that matters, right?
That's like comparing him to De Rossi, man. De Rossi scored with Boca in his first game. Like, come on, man. I'll take De Rossi. But what does Boca have? They have a coach that knows how to manage a team. If Dynamo could find a coach, find a solid coach that knows what he's doing, can come down to Houston, take over Dynamo, and can give a lineup, a solid starting lineup. Don't give me, I'm going to switch it up this weekend, switch it up next week, and hit the road and switch it up again. I don't want that, no.
Okay, I know, we're going to put Rich on the spot. He did intern for the Dynamo, so he's been around the organization. I don't want him bad-mouthing anything like that. But I will say, I think people can acknowledge this from a season ticket holder's perspective. It's not just the product on the field. That's one thing. That's part of the problem. Spend the money, get the good coach, get the players. But as an organization, I can tell you right now, their marketing strategy, whatever it is, lack thereof, sucks. Their interaction with their members sucks. I'm going to give you a prime example. They promise season ticket holders for loyalty that based on your years, you get 25 to 30% off of next year's season tickets because you've been loyal for X amount of number of years. I was one of those. You know how much they raised the prices by? The ticket prices? 25%. So they try and con me and say 25%. That's why, and I was the only one. We're not dumb.
Of course.
We're not dumb. Like 25%, I said, come on. You know, the other thing is, you want to get fans and stands? I'm telling you, Houston, and this is, okay, I'm going to call it Houston fans, right? We come late to games because we're morons and we're fair weather fans and we leave late. That's what we do with everything, okay? Except for a few of us. But that's why other teams, you know what they do? They give, you know why the Astros give so many stupid giveaways, bobbleheads, that people go nuts over? Because it gets people there 2 or 3 hours before the game even starts.
They get there before even the players.
Pathetic marketing and giveaways. They do one bobblehead here, there, you know, one. Oh, yeah, this was one of my giveaways. Oh yeah. Ford, the best in Texas. Thanks, buddies. Yeah, I really want this. This is really going to make me a better fan. I'm going to come hours early for this. I mean, seriously. I mean, what are y'all thinking? And the camo cooling towel, I got that downstairs. It's like the size of a wash rag. And it's like, what? I mean, what are you doing? I mean, just their promotions. And the last thing I was, it's just the experience isn't worth it anymore. Like, they used to have someone who's really good, like, even the chick announcer. You know I had to say this, because I'm not the only one. What are you thinking, Houston Dynamo? All right, this is the woman they have. I don't know her name. I'm sure she's a nice girl. But she does not belong as, like, a public field announcer. Here I am with some really great fans. Oh, wow, you know the answer to the trivia question. Here's a towel and a pom-pom. Yay! I mean, that monotone. Actually, I was more excited there than the monotone nature that she is. And so my thing is, like, everything. And you go there and things are empty. Like, when I was at that Dynamo and America game, they had given my, like, section away to, like, a America fan section. Like, whoop, that sucks. And me and Raul ended up down on the field, which was a great upgrade. But, like, the fact that you have to do that, it's just so mismanaged. And I don't blame the people working there. I've worked with some great people. I met some great people working at BBVA and for the Dynamo. But the management and the orders they're giving are pathetic. And I have to say this. I was talking to other friends of mine that other stadiums. I have a cousin whose family's bought season tickets to Portland. They're from Portland, and like the experience they get is like they're treated legit. Yeah, and it's like the Dynamo are trying to do is they're trying to turn their season ticket holders into a fan section. They tried to move us onto the cover on one side and move our seats because they want us to be a fan section. El Batallon and Texas and I were supposed to be that, but I guess they're so crappy that they want us to do it. No offense, y'all, but they want us to replace you, apparently.
No, take offense to that. Screw you.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
Show up early to the games. Don't walk in 5 minutes in. Don't do that. That is not a fan group. That's just people showing up.
The national anthem is playing. Let's walk in drunk.
Yeah. Man,
so...
that's what
I'm sorry, the show's gone off the rails. I'm sorry, that's what we're doing. We should put one of those, like, caution, like, you know, if Richard has the graphic to say that we're just out of control.
Yeah, you know, I added the tombstone in there, so.
I got you. Yeah, Obama, he had it ready. RIP Tombstone, this is it. At 7:26 p.m. on August 15th, 2019, I declared the Houston Dynamo dead as a soccer organization. So I want you guys to play this back, okay? Have a drink and enjoy yourselves like we are. And remember that this was the day the Dynamo died.
Juan said the organizations both are mismanaged, but they go for the long run. What's going to bring them more money in?
Oh, you're talking about you can't compare the Astros down. No, you're exact. No, I can compare them, Juan, because they don't compare. That's exactly my point.
They're not the same.
I can say that the Dynamo are doing exactly the opposite of what the Astros are doing, so I can compare them. No, I can't say they're alike because they're not alike at all. Okay, they're not alike at all. So, you know, you're exactly right. looking at things in the standings, I'm going to mention just real fast. So I mentioned how the West was. MLS in general. LAFC is dominating. These guys got 55 points. I don't know if you have the standings or the matchups coming, but these guys are killing people. LAFC, 55 points. Second place, Seattle, 39. I mean, the fact they've opened up a 16-point lead with still a lot of season to play.
That's without Dempsey.
Exactly. Minnesota and San Jose sitting 38. San Jose, everyone thought. Once again, what did San Jose do? Look at their coach. They spent money on a coach.
I guess I made them.
Good guy. They spent money on players, and they let them go. Galaxy, 5th place, 37. Salt Lake, 37. Dallas, 36. East Coast. Philly, ironically, is the number 1 with 45. Atlanta is now 2 with 42. DC, 39. NYC, 38. The Red Bulls from New York, 37. New England, Montreal has creeped back into playoff contention. The outsiders are Toronto, 33. Orlando, 30. Oh, by the way, that's an Orlando team that's going to play the Dynamo. So if you think that they're going to be hungry for 30 points, you damn right they are, because they're in the same position as the Dynamo. So something to think about. So, going forward, I think I've roasted them enough. I think they're pretty charred. I'm still a fan. I still support them. But see, that's the beautiful thing. And if you follow the Dynamo on social media, they get super sensitive too. If you comment or like retweet stuff and make rude comments or whatever, they will get so sensitive. I'm sorry, Dynamo and whoever manages, they probably will never see it. Actually, no, I'll make sure you see this. Because I'll put it on Texas Soccer Live Twitter and Texas Soccer Live YouTube. I'll make sure I tweet it and message it at you. And you'll probably get sensitive. Whoever's commenting back, like, look, that's the gift and curse right there of being in the spotlight. You got to be able to take the heat and give the heat. You don't want to get the heat thrown at you, then dish the heat out. And how you dish the heat out is to win and to create a championship caliber organization. It's been sloppy lately, and y'all know it. Y'all know it. I've talked to employees. I looked in the eyes of ticket reps, and they're just like, I know things are bad. I'm sorry. They want to say that so bad, but they're trying to save face. They know it.
They get more excited when they have Liga MX teams showing up. And I can tell you right now, Dynamo fans, Dynamo ticket reps, everybody that works at Dynamo, BBVA Compass Stadium, well, BBVA Stadium, because they took off the Compass part.
Yeah, no more Compass. Yeah. We're out of Compass.
That game on Tuesday, Tigres America.
Riots.
You're going to bring in people. It's going to be fun. It's going to be filled.
Riots.
You need to be careful because there's a lot of tension that happened in California, and it's going to roll over to Houston.
Good segue because...
And I was there.
As I put on my giveaway. Hang on. I wanted to end tonight's show by talking about BBVA Stadium, and Raul, as he eloquently pointed, America and Tigres play each other on Tuesday. There are no more tickets. Don't try and buy them. They're sold out.
I tried. $100.
Richard waited too long. I tried to use my ticket holder discount. He waited too long. Now look, they're playing. I think later that same night because it's out in LA. Cruz Azul is going to play LA Galaxy, and then the winner will play the winner. So that's what we got. All right. Now, as we look at that, like I said, Liga MX is still dominant. We've got 3 out of the 4 teams that are going to be Liga MX. But like I said, it's cool if you got tickets. But I would avoid the BBVA Stadium, Edo area, if you will, of downtown, unless you're a America or Tigres fan, unless you feel like getting into a fight. If you want to, go ahead. I'm sure HPD will be out there in force.
It should be pretty interesting because we played America Tigres Campeones in LA, and it was not pretty. But for Tigres here, yeah, I mean, should be pretty interesting. There's going to be a lot of everything's sold out. The only tickets that I found were $100 to $200.
Yeah.
So I'd rather just miss out unless you want to get caught in between a riot, because the Dynamo game that I went to, against America, I got spotted out by some fans that went to LA, and they also spotted my friend. So it might not turn out to be what you expect it to be. Everything's sold out. We have at least I think maybe Tigres. All right, America has, I think in those 3 sections they could fit about maybe 500-600 fans. And then they probably gave them an extra section because they needed to fit in people. Our sections, we sold 3,500. And we sold all tickets. All tickets are gone. And when I went on the website to look for the tickets. They're all gone. You can't find anything. But it should be pretty interesting. I mean, it's a face-off. And what's interesting about that is that we play each other this Tuesday, and then that following weekend we play each other in Monterrey, which I will be at both. But yeah, if you have tickets, go. We plan on starting at 1 in the afternoon. We plan on starting at 1 in the afternoon. Show up. If you can show up, be there. If you have time, be there. I know where Tita's side is going to be. You might want to be there if you go for Tita's. America side, I don't know, but I please ask you to stay away from us, because if you come around...
And if you're one of the ones that threw beer at me last time, I'm going to freaking find you. God dang it, you guys are freaking savage. You're the New York Yankees of soccer, I swear.
But what I will tell you this, that Monday when they get here...
Galleria,
I'm going to look for...
He's going to.
I'm going to go look for Tita's players. But I will take something separate. If I can get something separate signed by both teams, we're going to have a giveaway coming for you guys. It'll be given player autographs, America or Tita's. It'll be player autographs for you guys. So tune in for that. I'll come up with something. I'll be there. You want an autograph picture with me and them? I mean, whatever you want, but I will get it.
So that's your final message to the people?
Yeah.
All right. My final message to the people as we wrap up here, and then I'll turn over to Richard for his final thoughts, then I'll close it down for you, is that we're really looking forward to, like I said, we love y'all's comments and input. You notice we've been experimenting this episode with some different graphics, different images, different things on screen. If you like what you saw, message. I mean, Richard, I will say this, Richard's been awesome. He's going to be leaving town, so he won't be here with us live. But he's still going to be posting a lot on the page. He's still going to be helping us with the graphics and whatnot. So he won't be here for the same, in-person commentary. Well, we're going to be changing a lot. We're going to be doing a lot of solo stuff. So Richard's going to be bringing a solo segment with a lot of the stuff he's doing in the programs over either women's soccer or the Liga MX or things that he's interested in. Raul and I are going to try and do the same. And then still bring you that monthly show. One thing that I like to do, and just so you know, it's something I'm experimenting with, I told the guys last night, is, as Tech Soccer Live, I really want to explore, I want to start doing some more stories on soccer and its culture here in Texas, in Houston. So I've reached out to some friends of mine that are coaches out there in Houston soccer. So if you're related to someone who's currently playing high school Texas soccer at a big high school, or if you know a coach of a high school Texas soccer team, I'm getting few names together, and I have a few already, but I always want to interview more to ask some questions and view on their opinion on how they see the game of soccer in Texas, in Houston, and how they've seen it grown. So grown over their time and their careers. So I don't care if you have a friend who's in high school right now, someone who's graduated, maybe they're playing college ball and they played here in Houston. Hit us up with the name, direct message the page, message me, because I'm putting that story together, and it'll almost be, I'm envisioning like a little mini episode that's just going to be where actually I'm going to work with Richard and his skills to maybe video edit and put together a little insight to Houston soccer for you. And so that's my message. Raul's message clearly is get ready for Tuesday because Houston is going down. Richard, your thoughts, and then I'll close it down. What do you got, Richard?
All right, so kind of adding up to what you said, and thank you for putting that up there. We're trying to expand more towards our YouTube channel. I feel like that is a very good opportunity for us to kind of bring you more of these edited versions of our show while still bringing you kind of our roots, which have always been here on Facebook Live. So I've been playing with the graphics, definitely loving them. I've tried them out when I was in Italy, trying to add those weekly shows. So the Texas Soccer Live updates will be coming to you starting next Wednesday on the 21st, and hopefully I'll be able to give you one each and every single week. They'll be mostly just highlighting the two leagues that I'm very passionate about, which are here in the U.S. and in Mexico. So both Liga MX for the men and the women, and the NWSL and MLS. So with that in mind, yeah, I feel like that's gonna be the start of something very big for us as we're trying to move more towards more of this like media outlet for.
If you guys
soccer.
can subscribe to the channel, it helps a lot. And we will starting for this episode. I marked down each time frame. So for every conversation, if you want to
jump to
if you want to jump to a certain conversation, you can jump to it and watch it through. So,
Twitter as well. I've been managing the Twitter page as much as I can. I know it's hard, but Texas Soccer Live. It's at Texas Soccer Live. On Twitter as well.
All of our content actually is at Texas Soccer Live.
Yeah, everything's at Texas Soccer Live. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Texas Soccer Live. We're expanding all that stuff, so follow us, interact with us. The three of us have committed that at least once a week. Here's what's going to happen going forward. We post updates all the time. When we see things, we share on the page. But we're going to be at least once a week. Each of us is going to be posting an actual story. What I mean by that is we may share something we see, but it's going to be a substantial, call it an article, call it a post, whatever. At least once a week you'll get that from us. Richard will be doing some video stuff when he's out of town. We're going to maintain the once a month. So there's a lot of stuff going on. And here's the biggest thing I want to put out to people. I want to follow us on that. There's the three of us. I know we have friends and family and people out there who know a lot about soccer. We want to get people on this show. Like right now, we want you here in person for a segment. There's space on the couch. When Richard leaves, there'll be space for more people.
Yes.
And we need people. We need people there. So if you're interested, you want to come on because you love Mexican soccer, you love Premier League soccer, you love the Dynamo, whatever it is, and you want to come on, reach out to one of us and we'll hook it up. We want to get you on here and have a good time. So. That's really our message.
And it even goes out to Spanish because we've been trying to have a Spanish show.
We want to do, these guys will be these guys, because I'm sorry, I'm a gringo when it comes down to, I don't speak no Spanish, sorry. Un poquito, sorry. I got these two guys who do, so we will be doing more posts, especially Liga MX posts when it comes to, putting quick things, updates in Spanish, interact with the Spanishes too, so we can do that. I will say there's one big thing, so long term, that's the short term. Because Raul and I have dreams. I have a dream, okay? When we hit our 4-year anniversary, it's going to be huge. And y'all get ready right now. We had the crawfish boil, which was very successful. This boy right here, Raul, was cooking up the crawfish. We're going to double that. We had a live show. Many of you remember that. It was out of the garage with the soccer wall. We're doing it again in March. So if you're in the Houston area, we're going to coordinate with Richard and his spring break. And when he's here, get everybody together. We're going to do a live show outside of the garage, good drinks, good food, good times. We're going to have DJs in the mix. We're going to have a live show with audience on their party. So get ready. I know it's all the way in March, but it's going to be here before you know it. So if you know you're going to want to do that, keep following, keep with us. We want to get people on, but we want the people to really participate. Okay? Anything else you guys want before we shut it down?
I think I just found my little intro video to the YouTube page. To kind of get that little highlight reel. I think that's it. What to expect for year 4.
Year 4. We're getting there. We're the prime of year 3. We're going to be gearing up. It's not a World Cup year for men or women, but we got a lot of soccer to talk about. Yeah. And I really want to do a lot of cool things. So
yeah, we're fans, but we're also critics about the own game.
Exactly.
Our own team. So
like I said, remember, if you're tuning back right now, search the minutes on YouTube. We got the segments. If you want to see my rant that I just went off into just a blur about Dynamo, do that. You want to hear about women's soccer and the state of the NWSL, go check out that segment with Richard. You want to hear about Liga MX, now your favorite Mexican team's going to do, check out Raul. But check it out, support us, like us, share, Spread the word. We do this for fun. We all got things we got going on. These guys are in school doing their thing. I'm running a school doing my thing. And no, here we go. So, but we all love soccer as it brings us together. So, for Richard Romero, Raul Villarreal, Sean Telez, Tech Soccer Live, episode 27. That's a wrap. We'll see you next time. Hit it.